former editor of The Sun, and Jonathan Davis, chartered financial planner and spokesman for housepricecrash.co.uk. Well, Baroness Ford, first of all, Ken MacDonald was saying prudence is dead. You'd agree with that?
Yeah, I think we've seen a change today. We've seen an interventionist pre-budget report, and absolutely right. This isn't the time, I think, to be sitting on our hands or to be overly cautious. I think this is the time to be delivering the kind of fiscal stimulus into the economy that we saw today, and I'm very pleased to have seen the Chancellor make the statement that he did. I think it's very good news, particularly for businesses and for the small business sector of the economy. I think it's excellent news. Some of those measures were, I think, things that we waited a long time to see, and I think small businesses will be really, really pleased with a lot of those measures that were contained in the statement today.
Has the Chancellor, Robert Crawford, done enough to get us all spending again, do you think?
That's the question which I think will become obvious in the next 6 months or so. In relation to the size of the problem the British economy faces on innovation and productivity, no, but that wasn't what he was intending to do. What I think he was intending to do was give a short-term fill-up to the economy to charge through some retail spend, but that doesn't go to the heart of the fundamental productivity problem that haunts this economy. We consume too much and we produce too little, and that gap has not been closed by this afternoon.
Are you as optimistic, Kelvin Mackenzie, as the Chancellor appears to be about our prospects for economic recovery?
The short answer is no. I have the misfortune, by being the oldest person here, of having lived through the 70s, in which we had socialist governments after socialist governments. They seem to be coming along about every 10 seconds, in which we ended up, I think, with 57% of our GDP was debt, and which they were taxing the rich until the pips squeaked. This lot is reverting to type. These guys, in the end of the day, are old Labour running our country, and we are in big trouble because of their errors, and on top of that, a world error. So actually, I am not at all optimistic about the way forward at the moment. I'm definitely not helped by this. He's wasted £12.5 billion of our money. Remember, it's not his money, it's our money. Wasted £12.5 billion by reducing VAT. It will make no difference at all to the lower end of the scale, where actually VAT at buying, I don't know, not food, by the way, but buying some other stuff. You buy a bottle of whiskey, as the whiskey guys pointed out, actually they put the taxes up more than the VAT will reduce it. It is a total scam, this.
Jonathan Davis, as the Scottish Secretary said at the margins, that may well get people to spend, won't it?
Of course not. I saw lots of reports on the BBC today of real people in the shopping centres, and they were being asked time after time, will this get you spending? No, it won't. £12 and a £400 television, for example, it's not going to happen. This was not, in fact, in my view, an economic budget, strange as it may seem. This is a political budget. This is because of the election, which is going to happen in the next 6 to 18 months. It's a pre-election tax bribe, and the taxes are going to rise beyond belief for years afterwards.
You can't be seriously suggesting, I mean, you're a serious person, you're a chartered financial planner. You can't seriously be suggesting that this wasn't an economic budget. I mean, I would put it to you that if you were a small business in Scotland and you were today given all of those options around when you would pay your capital gains tax, when you would pay your corporation tax, all of those things, when you were really struggling, if you were a family facing repossession today, you can't seriously tell me this is a gimmicky budget. These are serious problems and seriously being tried to be addressed today.
In what way is it going to help someone who's being repossessed?
Well, the government said very, very clearly today that the banks who are part of the lending panel will now give a 3 months grace. The government has also, no, it's a further 3 months. They have also extended the relief for families who become unemployed and who face repossession as a result of unemployment. These are serious, Kelvin, this isn't a gimmick, these are serious measures.
Can I just tell you, you start using the banks, you work for the banks are being an absolute disgrace in this. They are crushing the life out of small business, and for anybody to come on television and start claiming that in some curious way the government can encourage the banks to do anything for anybody means that they haven't spoken to their bank manager lately.
Robert Crawford, is what the Chancellor is doing, is it going to get the banks spending again, at least giving credit back to small businesses who most need it?
I think we need to separate the issues out. Clearly the government has to do something about the problems in the economy. I mean, even the Financial Times this morning, which is not noticeably left of centre on most issues, commented on the need to intervene.
Precisely.
So the question then becomes, to be serious, will these measures address the long-term difficulties confronting the British economy, both at the individual level and business levels and so on? It's an attempt to do something which, in the absence of anything else, is a sensible thing, and there are also good things within it. Whether it will address the fundamental problems of innovation, which is low, credit crisis which affects individuals and businesses, I think is not really what this was intended to do this morning. It was much more to do with giving a short-term fillip to the economy, which we hope will have a behavioural response. People will spend their money regardless of whether or not it's enough. Obviously people want more. But will it make a long-term trend difference? That's unlikely, I think.
But Robert, don't you think that £1 billion into the Small Firms Loan
Yes,
Guarantee
it's a good
Scheme,
idea.
you and I know about small businesses,
idea.
I've started them, you've advised them, that is really, really important. If your banks won't lend, Kelvin, I have to say to you, the Small Firms Loan Guarantee Scheme is a lifeline for most small businesses.
Let's ask, Kevin, if you're so unhappy with what's being announced today, what would you do? Would you sit back and let it all happen?
I'd let a lot of this happen. I think one of our issues now is we are so massively going to be so massively overborrowed, right, that we are facing the distinct problem that this could last us 15 or 20 years. Whereas if we took some pain, look, I've run publicly quoted companies, right? And the truth about the matter is we were overborrowed. We had to flog assets, we had to hone down, our people had to take 20% pay cuts, and at the end of the day, the business worked, and we sold it for 100 million quid, right? We could have tried going the other way, in which case we'd be totally bankrupt today. So there is pain, and the idea that you can take pain out of an economy where you have overborrowed is ludicrous. There is no way of doing this, but they had to do this because otherwise they wouldn't have any chance at the next election. That's the problem.
He's going to get borrowing back on track by, what was it, 2015, 2016?
Yeah.
By which time the amount of we're all paying in taxes will be beyond belief. Look, the money markets will be lending all these...
Hang on a minute, there's no tax bombshell here. He's set out very clearly how he's going to pay for it, hasn't he?
He's not paying for it. We're paying for it. You're paying for it. The viewers are paying for it. Look, the money markets will be lending the hundreds of billions of pounds will eventually say, look, we can't afford to lend you this at these low rates of interest. We'll lend you it, but we're going to charge you through the nose, which means that long-term our interest rates are going to go through the roof as our mortgage costs, as our corporate borrowing costs.
Okay, is that a real problem, Baroness Ford?
No, I don't think so. And, Johnson runs a website called housepricecrash.com, so I don't think he's an optimist by nature. I am an optimist. I'm making a serious
That's
point.
a real economic argument.
No, I am an optimist
right,
by nature. And the fact
That's the crash.
The fact is, in response to both of your comments, national economies, Kelvin, don't run like households and they don't necessarily run like PLCs. And it might be easy to say, well, just let it take its course. The government can't take that option. The government has made a judgment today, and it's a calculation. And yes, I agree with you. It is a risk. It's a calculation that by making investments and intervening now, the pain will not be as you describe. And I actually strongly believe that if we did nothing, we'd be in a hellish state.
It has to be